This is a Satsuma plum tree in my backyard that is infested with plum bud gall mite. And as you can see, they create these little balls around each of the buds, and they multiply. When my tree first got these, I didn't know what they were. I thought it was just weird shaped buds, and then I learned that it is plum bud gall mite. So it's been slowly increasing on this tree every year with more and more galls until it's really affecting the how strongly the tree is growing. It's stopped growing taller. And it seems weakened. It doesn't have very many blooms this year. So I'm doing an experiment on a branch over here. I have decided to cut off all the gall mites, and I've really done a extreme job. That's a train passing. So on this branch, for example, this is actually a Mariposa graft, and Mariposa was very badly affected along with the Satsuma. And I've cut off all the areas where the gall was collecting. I didn't want to cut off all the growth. I left some new growth here, and just did my best to remove every single gall on this branch. And then what I'm going to do, here's more of the branch, but I'm going to place some tanglefoot around the circumference of this branch to hopefully prevent more mites from getting on this branch. And then if it succeeds, I will repeat on other parts of the tree to try to save the tree or eradicate the mite completely from the tree. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to paint a little bit of tar over each of these little scars. I was thinking that potentially if some mites were left behind, especially someplace like here where you can see there might be some gall material still left there. Perhaps if I paint it with tar, they won't be able to get out or hatch. Here's one more example of some new growth that I wanted to keep. So basically, the base was surrounded by galls, and then there were galls on each new bud on the bottom, and I just picked those off and then took off all the galls around the bottom here. So that's how I was able to leave some new growth, and I probably did leave some mite material, some galls behind that I didn't see with my eyes because they're so small. So I will be watching this tree, and if I see any galls forming, I will physically remove them with my fingernail or with an X-Acto blade. Okay, to do a recap here, I have now covered the open scars with tar. So in case I missed some of the mites or galls on those, especially in those junctions where the branch had, circumference full of galls, I'm hoping that the tar prevents any residual galls or mites from escaping, and hopefully the branch will survive the tar. I have another tree I did it on, it survived, so I'm hoping that, again, here's another one where I tarred up any junctions that were very suspicious that they might have mites remaining. And then I also put a little circumference of tanglefoot around this branch. So this branch has no galls remaining, and I'm hoping it stays that way when it grows out, whereas the rest of the tree has tons of galls, as you can see here, just covered with galls. This is what the tree looks like now, and the branch on the right is the one that I have taken the galls off, and then the galls remain on the rest of the tree. And then just to show you what I used tanglefoot and this sealant, asphalt sealant that I got recommended from avocado grafting, and it does work for protecting the cut surfaces from water. So I've kind of moved it over to fruit trees, and hopefully it'll work in this case.